Oh, you guys can't even see the word. Okay, I don't care how shitty this is. It's not about the drawing, it's about the message. And today's topic, guys, love. And I know you're thinking, but Brendan, you've done videos about love before. No, not like this one. How to love yourself. And this one is the most delicate subject because this was the one I struggled with the most. The sad truth is this. If you ask someone, name all the things about yourself that you love, they'll probably look at you and get stumped and ask, why are you asking me this? And they probably will only name a couple things. And if you ask the average person, name things that you hate about yourself, they can give you a whole list. The things that you hate about yourself is literally the things that your mind actually admires about yourself, but in a polar opposite way, like this. Because whoever you are, your shadow side will always be the complete opposite. I mean this. One thing I love about myself is that I love so much. I could love freely. If it's like, I used to be able to, I still do, but along the, like, after, like, I get older, you want to protect your heart more, but I love freely, wildly. A thing that I hate about myself is that I struggled with lust. That's how you kind of find the root of your problems. One thing I hate about myself is I have a lot of pride. Okay, why do I have a lot of pride? Well, it's one thing I love about myself, or I want to love myself. I want to be more humble. So now you have two things to understand why are you so prideful, and now to understand how can you become more humble, right? So it's always going to be a polar opposite reflection. That's why I did a mirror. Because whatever you hate about yourself is what you want to alchemize and turn it to love, right? So if you hate that you're lustful, that means you have to walk in the practice of love. Now, steps to hate. Oh, I almost said steps to hate yourself. That's fucked up. Steps to love yourself. Relearn yourself. Relearn everything that you were taught about yourself from an outer source. Everything that your mom told you to be, everything your dad told you to be, your siblings, strangers, teachers. Unlearn what the world taught you to be and learn to who God taught you to be. So if it's letting go of certain music, certain people, it doesn't matter what it is. Letting go, shedding new skin. If you continuously do the same thing every day, it's going to be hard for you to not be at war with yourself. It's not necessarily that you hate yourself, but it's that when life is on repeat, your mind goes, I can't have this happening. So when your life is the same day by day, secretly what the mind does, you guys probably don't even notice this. I didn't notice this until I got older, up until the age like now, 20. That when life is the same day by day, I do wrong because my life is like this, and I thought I needed life to be like this for things to change around me. Instead of being mature about it and changing little things around me, like changing my diet, changing the walks that you go on every day. If I go on the same trail every day, I'm going to have the same thoughts every day. I'm used to the trail. There's nothing new. There's nothing exciting. So when there's nothing exciting, you create up and downs. So to unlearn everything that you recreated about yourself and what the world created about you, and make something completely new. Don't be scared to branch out. Wherever you want to branch out, but there's fear there, right on the other side of that is self-love. Now, in order to change, though, I will say this till the day I die. In order to change, you have to change out of love, not out of hate. If you change out of hate, you're going to get where you want but your mind will never be satisfied, and then you're going to lose motivation and you're going to lose meaning behind everything you're doing, and then you're going to be stumped. Well, I did everything I was supposed to do. Why am I not happy? Because you didn't change because you loved yourself. You changed hoping that you love yourself, but you didn't change out of love. You change like this. When someone you love, let's just say you're in a relationship and you're doing really bad things, and they'll say change. If you love them, you'll change for them. You don't change for them so they could love you or so you could love them. You change for them because you love them and they love you, and they want to see the best for you and you want to see the best for yourself. Self-love is the same exact thing. In order to change, you have to love you at the core. Whether you did wrong or did good, you have to have that self-love rooted no matter what. And a part of chasing or accepting the self-love, because chasing means it's running away, right? Accepting self-love means forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself and actually listening to every single thought that you have and throwing away the garbage thoughts. It's like in your camera roll. When you get a bunch of pictures that you want to delete or keep, your thoughts are just like that. And remember, in order to love yourself, you have to separate you from your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are who God called you to be. In order to love yourself, you have to be rooted in the love of Christ. The only way I ever loved myself was when I understood how much Jesus loved me. When I saw what he saw in me, it created a whole different kind of atmosphere for myself. I felt safe with myself for once in years. And I'll tell you this, if you're the type of person who's always looking for other people to love, that means you have so much love that needs to be stored within the self. Because when I loved myself at my peak, when I was like the most happy, it's when I'm not looking for the right person to love. I'm becoming the right person myself out of love. So whoever finds me, whether it's friend, lover, enemy, can be changed just by the love that I carry. Now, if you see yourself as Christ saw you, self-love happens not automatically, but dramatically over time. When you see yourself as the child who, that's why I made the person in the mirror smaller. It's like the higher self trying to comfort the little self. When you see yourself as the little child that you were, if you think of yourself when you were a kid and your first instinct is anger or cringe or disgust, that's a big sign that you store deep hate within yourself. What about your little self did you hate? There's no reason to hate your little self. And remember, one of the things that made me feel better every time I did wrong, I go back to the saying, I did whatever I could with the mindset I had at the time, with the knowledge I had at the time, with the wisdom I had at the time to grow. But now, I am growing much more in Christ. I would like to say day by day I'm trying, right? Obviously I fail a lot. You'd probably be surprised how many times I fail. Definitely more than you guys probably. But even when I say that, I'd never let that disqualify me. You always have to have deep-rooted self-love. And I'll tell you a trick that helped me love myself. I do active imagination a lot. That's like kind of what helps me. I think of myself in the most vulnerable state that I've ever been in, or in the state that you hated yourself the most. Think of a time in life where you hated yourself the most. Close your eyes and think of that person but just with tears down his face, and you now hugging yourself. And it's almost as if you're forgiving yourself, letting him go and understand. In order to love yourself, you have to understand who you are. We tend to hate ourselves when we don't know who we are. You know? If you look back when you hated yourself the most, you will tell me that wasn't me, because you didn't know who you were at the time. But if you understood and accept that was me at the time. Past, present, future. Accept the past, present, future, and love all versions of yourself from the past, present, future, whether it's corny, bad, funny, silly, doesn't matter. Accepting who you are will only lead to change. Denying who you are will never, ever, ever, ever lead to change in the right way. If, let's just say, which I had struggled with lust. So much, I still do to this day sometimes. But we learned to fight it. And I was like, I hate myself. I have to change. Like, no, I'm going to accept, yes, I'm struggling with this, but I'm going to change for the greater good. And part of loving yourself is 100% forgiving yourself, because everyone, I think that's where a lot of self-hate comes from, is not forgiving yourself and accepting the parts of you that you were too scared to show. If you have a hard time speaking up, that's why Carl Jung called it the shadow, the shadow self. Integrating the parts of yourself that you're afraid to show. If I have a hard time speaking up for myself, and I never speak up for myself, I just ignore it, I'm going to probably hate myself because I'm ignoring things that would help me, right? Speaking up will help me, but if I keep ignoring it, you're just going to keep building on negative, in the sense where I don't stick up for myself, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do this, I don't do that. So part of loving yourself is loving yourself on the best days and worst days. When you do everything you could accomplish, and you do everything and you don't do anything that you couldn't accomplish, doesn't mean you settle for that lesser version of you. All it means is that you understand why you couldn't do it, and tomorrow you're going to be even better than you were yesterday, and you get better out of love. To forgive yourself and to accept who you are truly, and to accept the things that are not you, is love. To change the parts of you that you are not proud of, even if it looks ugly, even if it looks dark, even if it's the messiest versions of you. If you accept it and you're willing to change it, you love yourself. That's why the Bible commands us, love thy neighbor as thyself. How are you supposed to love your neighbor if you can't love yourself? And a lot of our self-love that we hide is from deep-rooted insecurities. If you ever realize, what was your first insult to make when you roast someone? Whatever your first insult is, your impulsive insult, that's what you think about yourself, because the Bible says, love your neighbor as thyself. That's why I always say this, that's why I did the mirror again. Reflections. Everything is a reflection. Your neighbor is a reflection of yourself. If you cannot love your neighbor, it means you cannot love yourself. And if you cannot love yourself, it's because there's something that you're holding above your own head. What is it? Past, present, future? Past, learn to accept it and forgive it. Future, not to worry about it. And if you're going to think about the future, be excited. Present, if you have a hard time being in the present, fixate on stuff in the present that keeps you grounded. Right? Keep your mind stimulated. If you're overthinking, it means you're underworking. Maybe not physically, but it means you're underworking your mind. You're overworking your mind in the wrong aspects, but you're underworking your mind in the right aspects. You're not doing it enough. When you're overthinking, that means you need to fix your attention on either something physical that you could look at and start breaking it down, like this color, this shirt. It's yellow, red, black. I'm keeping my mind occupied. It's a technique I taught you guys about in my older videos. And then the spiritual. How do you connect to God? How? How do you connect to Jesus? Is it going for walks? Is it listening to gospel music? Is it writing, singing, dancing, crying, laughing? How? I think if you find your way of worship, guys, everyone worships differently. Worshipping collectively as a crowd, going to church, all that, it's great. Worshipping alone, now that shows you who you really are. Because it shows you. I worship God through my writing. I write about God. I worship God through my videos. I honor Him through my videos. That means my essence, who I am, I'm a creator. We're all creators, but some more. This means I love to talk to people because I'm on here creating to help others. If I'm writing, that means I'm a lover at heart. I love to touch the souls through, like me, I like old-fashioned writing. Maybe you like love poetry, God poetry. That means you probably have an old soul and you touch people's hearts very vividly. If you're a writer, that means you touch people's hearts very vividly. You overthink, but in the best way possible. If you worship God through singing, that means you were born to be a very vocal person. Never quiet your voice, always say what needs to be said. If you worship Him through quiet prayer and solitude, that means you have an easier time learning to master the mind. For you, read a bunch of books, meditate. The artists, keep drawing, look at new art every day. Don't keep looking at the same art. Look at new art, keep expanding your mind, and keep it occupied. But I can't stress this enough. Understand why you love, understand why you hate, and forgive yourself. If you want to love yourself and your neighbors, as Jesus said, it's to forgive yourself. We hold so much hate upon ourselves that is so uncalled for. And I'm telling you, if you were to love yourself a little bit more, a little bit harder, try to understand yourself as much as you try to understand the next person. If you don't have a desire to understand the random stranger that you had a 3-minute conversation with, in those 3 minutes, if you don't care about that person, that means there's self-work that needs to be done. I can't tell you exactly how you need to heal, but I could tell you, understand why you hate and why you love. If you could understand those two things, you could understand yourself. And that will make you or break you. It will either make you love yourself more or hate yourself more. But never let it lead to hate, because everything that you hate about yourself, there's someone that will love that about you. Well, I struggle with lust. They'll look at you and say, well, I love how you fight against it. Big what? But I struggle, I hate my body. I love your body the way you are, and I love how you're working hard on your body to fix it. I hate the videos I make. Your videos are very unique. The things that you want others to say to you when you put yourself down, you need to be that. Because that positive voice is God. God always speaks in the positives, right? Never in the confusion, never in the condemnation, never in the chaos, never. God speaks through gentle instructions. Love you guys. Don't let your past get down on yourself. Let go of the past. You are not your past. You are not your future. You are your present. You are the thoughts you think. So a man thinketh he is. Because the Bible says, what it's trying to tell you is your mind creates reality. If you meditate on hate around the world, if you always consume hate from social media, you're going to hate yourself, because that is the energy you're picking up. You're a sponge. You're a magnet. And emotions is what you're magnified to. So be careful what you surround yourself in. Because you might think you hate yourself, but in reality, you just hate the things that you do. You just hate the things that you surround yourself with. Maybe you don't hate the people, but you hate the reason why you do it. Maybe the reason why you hang around these people because you're insecure. Maybe the reason why you date down, you date people who treat you like shit, is because you feel like if you date someone with a higher value, then you're in the you're in the shoe that you could lose. But remember, when you're with God and when you're genuine and when you're loving and caring, you could never lose, guys. Never. But yeah, guys, that concludes this video. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.